Welcome to IBIS Weather. This is Sarah. This is the update for January 27th. Yes, yesterday I did take a day off after basically doing videos for a whole week. I needed a little bit of a reset before we talk about the potential of a bomb cyclone this weekend for the East Coast. We'll get more into that and what it is and what we could possibly expect, when, where, etc. How confident that we may or may not be in the end of this video. But officially, Winter Storm Fern has moved on and away. We see no remains of her lingering over the East Coast. She is officially gone. Of course, there's still a lot of snow and ice being dealt with for a good portion of the country, as well as obviously power outages from it, unfortunately. But this is the live radar view of today, January 27th, at around 5:15. As you can see, we don't have a whole lot going on. We have a little bit of some snow showers over there in the Pacific Northwest, and a little bit into Northern California, which is a little bit more rain. You do have a little bit of flurries over there in Canada, and then of course in the Dakotas, Nebraska, um, Illinois, or well, not Illinois, I should say. I see the word Chicago, that's why I said Illinois, but Michigan, the Great Lakes area, and over there off the coast of the New England into the Mid Atlantic a little bit. So nothing too crazy, which is good news. Much needed break, I think, for everyone who dealt with Winter Storm Fern. So that is good news. Then also to kind of close it all out, I wanted to give you guys a little bit of what normal watch warning advisory display would look like. If you remember last week when I showed you the ones for Winter Storm Fern, it was very unusual. We saw the humongous amount of areas and people that were under some type of advisory. This is definitely more like the normal. It's still got a little bit of colorfulness here, of course. Most notably, you'll notice very cold weather over there in South Georgia into Florida, including a good part of the peninsula, and just cold weather. So the purple is major cold, lighter blue is not quite as severe. You also have that over there in Louisiana and a little bit into Texas. We do see wind advisories over there on air quality in the Pacific Northwest. We do see some winter precipitation warnings over there in Michigan, and then just mostly cold again from not Idaho, Indiana, Ohio, into Pennsylvania, and just the Mid Atlantic in general. So nothing too crazy or wild. We'll see how that looks as we approach the end of this week. It's only Tuesday, so we have a few days to see what happens on that. And then also, of course, as I mentioned, there were power outages, and there's still a good amount that's going on. Unfortunately, Tennessee still has 151,000 plus people without power. Mississippi is number two with 137 1,000 plus people. Louisiana, 91 thousand plus. Texas, 25,000 plus. Kentucky, 22,000 plus. California surprisingly has a good chunk of people without powers. Obviously, that was not related to Winter Storm um, Fern, so I'm not sure what that's all about. This is not just for weather stuff. This is just talking about power outages across the country as a whole. And then Georgia and South Carolina kind of uh, round that off with about under 10,000 each of their power outages still. So definitely not super great. Um, but definitely we're seeing areas starting to improve on that. Obviously, the worst hit areas of Mississippi and Tennessee, it's going to take a while longer. Um, Tennessee had a considerable amount of damage done to the power grid. I think I heard about over 50% of it was damaged or destroyed by falling trees and the ice. So it's going to take a while. Quite similarly to what we saw with Hurricane Helene in 24 for people from Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. Especially Georgia and South Carolina at that point because they did not expect to be hit with her as quite as hard as they were, and the amount of just damage that she caused. Obviously, different systems, they do cause different types of damage, but still, nonetheless, it was that much of an impactful storm. So let's go ahead and talk about what is going to happen this weekend. There's a lot of rumblings on the internet, people talking about, oh, are we going to have a week third of possible snow? Where could it be? Is it going to be just as bad as what we saw? So let's break it down. There is a potential for snow, yes. It is not super, we are not super confident on it. It's not a super strong signal yet, but it's been a little bit of a consistent one. At this point, with us being so many days until Saturday and Sunday, which is be when the main event would happen in this case, it is a little bit concerning to see it staying a little bit consistent with that, unfortunately, with the models. But as we saw with this past system, locations, um, and how much, what type you get, how much you'll get, timing of it, etc., is quite unknown and not confident right now. We're unsure of. We are confident it will be very cold. We do know another round of incredibly cold air will be coming down from the Arctic over into the eastern portion of the U.S. We do see that we're going to see some moisture continue to come out of the Gulf into the southeast coast. So the prime areas for any winter precipitation that this system might bring, which would technically be a nor'easter or a bomb cyclone. You may have heard of these before in the past, but that's typically what brings snow. If you're going to have it from the East Coast, southern East Coast, all the way up to New England, it would be a bomb cyclone. So, yes, uh, if you're waiting for snow on the coastal regions of the deep south on the East Coast, this might be your third time. Third might be the lucky charm you need for it. We might definitely see that. Well, I just can't say definitely, but we might see it. Confidence, that's going to be cold and that's probably going to be windy. So we'll just have to see kind of what happens with that. So go ahead and look at the GFS model. So it's showing for tomorrow at midnight, nothing major big. Some snow, parts of the northern part of the country, nothing too crazy. Start seeing the moisture kind of billowing into the Gulf, again, not super. This is 12 on Friday, so definitely indication of that. If we keep looking, you start seeing some moisture and a possible storm. Cyclone Genesis possibly starting to form over here off the coast of the Carolinas. Some snow in Tennessee, into Virginia and West Virginia, possibly at midnight on Saturday. Um, some rain into California, into North Florida and southeast Georgia. Snow build up. Starting to definitely see it kind of pull together. You see the Elford indicator of a low pressure forming. Um, Snow more of the state of Tennessee getting snow from it. Again, more snow. You see a little bit of ice over there in South Carolina, close to Myrtle Beach. Definitely a bigger storm by 6 p.m. And then you see the snow kind of start hooking a little bit northeast, and you start seeing the snow kind of build out more. So you start seeing Georgia getting it. Again, Georgia by Sunday, and it just kind of moves up and off the coast of the northeast on Monday with a lot of moisture on the right hand side of the system. So the open ocean having a lot of moisture in there. Again, this is just one model, the GFS. Again, it's one of the main or grandiose ones that we have. Um, Again, it's not super great, with tropical. I mean, it's not. It's going to be a system that's in the ocean. If it was a tropical time of the year, yes, it probably would be considered a tropical storm. Um, this is obviously not going to have tropical characteristics, but it's similar in how it's structured, and it's called a bomb cyclone because typically they bomb out. So I mean, the pressure drops very quickly, uh, which may bring wind and possible blizzard conditions for the northeast. Not so much for the southeast, but definitely can bring some snow and possibly some impressive snow. Um, so this was the 6 p.m. one. So let's go ahead and take a look at what 12 o'clock shows to get a better idea. So we're starting that on Saturday. Let's go all the way back until today at 6. So snow over there into the Great Lakes region, which we did see on the live radars. Keep going. Nothing too crazy until we approach Friday. You start seeing that moisture pluming and building up across the Gulf into the southeast. Some snow over there in the mid Atlantic to the mid south. And you start seeing the low pressure kind of forming off the coast of the Carolinas here. And this one does show even the likes of Augusta, Georgia, and Savannah, Georgia, possibly getting some snow. Hilton Head, Charleston, the coastal areas of North Carolina as well. And then we see it continues to go on up the coast and then kind of pull away, just kind of skimming the very coastal regions of the Northeast. So this again is a GFS. So yes, we're seeing the signal that something might try to form, might happen. We don't have an official anything. There's no guarantee that the storm will form or where it will form or how close to land it will be. Um, we just don't know yet, but we know it will be very cold regardless. So the potential, if something does form, we have the potential for snow, and it would most likely be snow versus ice. Just by this is more the typical, usual setup that you need for the southeast to actually get snow here. So this is the more typical setup versus what I said last week, where I didn't think coastal, southeast coastal regions were going to get snow or ice just because it wasn't the usual setup that we need for it. But this is more of a usual setup. So there is that. Let's go ahead and look at the euro. This is their 12Z, so they haven't come out with a 6 o'clock one yet. Um, so this one is starting at 3 o'clock today. So we keep going forward. Again, nothing too wild or crazy. Until we start kind of going into the weekend. So on Friday, you start seeing some moisture over there in the Gulf and over there off the Carolinas, some snow in North Carolina and upstate South Carolina, a little bit into Georgia. And we see that snow continue to build and grow. This one doesn't quite hit some areas of southeast Georgia on this one, this particular model run. Um, and this one kind of keeps it a little bit more away from the coastline, it looks like, particularly for New England and Mid-Atlantic. Let's go ahead and see what the 6 a.m. one for the euro shows. So let's go all the way up until 12 o'clock Friday. So very similar to what we saw at the 12 one. And that one shows even less impressive snowfall for the Carolinas. And again, kind of keeping it off the Mid-Atlantic and Northeast coast. So obviously these are model runs. These are going to flip flop between now and Friday. We know that it is most likely going to be extremely cold. That is where the confidence is. We just don't know, is bomb cyclone going to form? If it does, how strong is it going to get? How where it forms and how close to land will also play an important role. So if it's further out to sea, as what we're seeing with the Euro, you're probably less likely to see snow versus if it forms super close to the coastline, then you're more likely to see snow. Um, and this one also is just showing a lot of cold rain as for both of the models are right now showing that versus the snow, not a whole lot of snow, and looking like both are showing that, the Mid-Atlantic and New England might really kind of look out in this scenario compared to what happened last week. So time will tell, we just don't know. So here's my final thoughts as we kind of close out today's video. If you are on the East Coast, particularly in the Southeast Coast up to the Mid Atlantic, start being weather aware. Follow a trusted source, a page that you can trust to see what's going to happen, find out what's going to happen. Maybe start thinking if you still have supplies that you haven't used up. Do you need to top off on anything? Do you need to have your emergency kit set up just in case? Again, this would not be. It's not the same setup as last week, so we're not thinking ice or extended long periods of ice. If we do get snow, it would most likely be a Saturday to Sunday kind of thing here. Um, but again, if we do get it, again, we don't know the precise location of where the bomb cyclone could form, how strong it could be, and also it's too early to know if it does form where the snow is going to land and also how much for each location. We'll probably get a better idea. Hopefully, the hurricane hunters will be able to kind of get out and fly into possibly seeing the area that they think the system might form, just give us a better idea. Realistically, we probably won't have a good idea until maybe start getting a better idea until Thursday, if that at all. Um, so right now, yes, it's going to be very cold, regardless. So prepare to for that to stay warm. We might have uh, unusual lows, record lows for a good portion of the southeast there. Um, so we'll have to kind of wait and see what happens with that. But again, snow is a possibility, not an ice event, not as a big event as we saw last weekend, definitely more local. Um, and that is if it forms and where it forms to kind of give us a better idea of the timing and how much for whom could see the snow. So please feel free to share and like. Let me know where you guys are located in the comments below. I will be posting an update tomorrow as we continue to inch toward a weekend and see what happens here. Um, Again, please like, share, and subscribe, and I will talk to you guys tomorrow.